cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. My name is Sunny. I am your host. I'm here with my co-host, Caleb.
Hello.
And, of course, before we get too far in, we want to thank all of the patrons. So, a huge thank you to Cam Yang, Austin Johnson, Kane Martin, HGH Cyber, Madam Vera's Smugness, Marshawn Jones, Zyphorus, AD, ABC, It's Easy as 1, 2, 3, Anthony Leela, Blackwing, Silver in the Ascendant is a Floodgate, Branded Fart, Damian Zink, Dank Nugs, Elemental Hero Nibiru Token, Get Nibbed, You Sword Soul Noob, I Am McLincoln, Invoked Fart, Mountain Man, Oatmeal Spaghetti, Owen Alvarado, Pig, Rubina Go Chirp Chirp, Rudolph, Unbanned Number 95, Konami, Understanding and Reading are two different things, Virtually Saviors World, Zingas Khan, Aaron Gardner, Appaloosa, Floodgate of the Goddess, Asami, Dragon, Maidenless Behavior. I, Sunny, will give Dylan an episode to discuss Appaloosa. I am not obligated to that, by the way. Libromancer Best Deck, Max C Solves Combo, Mystic Mind Duelist, Nordic Best Deck, Old Man Red, Pin Code 143, Ray Powell, Shockmaster Did Nothing Wrong, Slaking It Up, and VFD's Nuts. All right, well, a huge thank you to all the patrons. And again, if you want to hear your name shout it out on the podcast, be sure to go ahead and check out our Patreon. The link is in the description down below. And of course, while we're talking about links down below, be sure to check out our TCG Player affiliate link. It costs you nothing extra to shop. Just click it before you shop and you support the podcast. It helps us tremendously. And of course, also check out one of our sponsors, Dragon Shield. So Dragon Shield is one of the largest TCG accessory manufacturers in the world, and they are kind enough to sponsor us on this podcast. They make shields. They make sleeves, deck boxes, play mats, all of the different things that you would use to protect your wonderful, precious, expensive, shiny cardboard. And I absolutely recommend checking them out. Just click the link in the description down below, and it will cost you nothing extra to support us, just like the TCG link. And you can get this awesome shuffle sound like this. I'm not the best at it, but you get the point. And the last one I'm going to say is please be sure to check out Millennium Threads. Millennium Threads is a store over on Etsy run by one of our wonderful listeners, and they put out some amazing different designs for Yu-Gi-Oh! As well as some other different things. I think I've seen some Pokemon. I think I even talked them into a One Piece design. So be sure to check out Millennium Threads. Their link is in the description down below. Just wonderful stuff. I'm going to post another picture tomorrow probably of me wearing the awesome hoodie that I have from Millennium Threads. So I absolutely recommend checking them out. And if you're on Apple or Spotify, give us a quick follow. If you're on YouTube, a quick subscribe would be immensely helpful. And I think I do want to plug our Discord. I'm trying not to make this too long, but I would like to plug our Discord. It's a wonderful place to check out, and we do run remote duel locals every Thursday. They are free to enter, and they are a lot of fun. And if you top the remote duel locals that we have on Thursdays, you'll get entered into an invite-only tournament that'll be held later this year. So be sure to check all of that out, and without further ado, let's get on into the actual episode, which I feel sorry that we're like 4 minutes in and I haven't actually started, but here we are.
Yep. Okay, so to start with...
Perks of having actual sponsors these days.
All right, so first off, we got some information on the next OTS pack, OTS 20! Woo!
Woo!
Elevate your game in 2022 with OTS Tournament Pack 20. Lots of 20s there. OTS Tournament Packs are not for sale items that are provided exclusively to Konami official tournament stores. That's an OTS for those of you who did not know what this stood for.
Yep.
So make sure to reach out to your local official tournament store for details. OTS Tournament Packs reward duelists who enter tournaments. Add an OTS for a chance to pick up cards that are useful for building decks using newly introduced or revamped strategies, as well as foil upgrades. Also, OTS Tournament Packs are the only way duelists can get a hold of ultimate rare cards. OTS Tournament Pack 20 introduces 3 new ultimate rare cards, including Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. This card plays a key role when you're up against a duelist using the same strategy that you are. Banish crucial extra deck monsters like Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon in style. And then OTS Tournament Packs 20 set contains 26 cards, 13 commons, 10 supers, 3 ultis, set subject to change.
So, just real quick, the Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherry pick is like fine, I guess.
I find it hilarious how they very specifically called out Ice Mirror Jade.
Yeah. What?
Get cherried.
Give me 3 cards that you would like to see in this set, either for a super rare upgrade or just a generic reprint or whatever. Just off the top of your head. Keep in mind, we're not going to see cards like Pot of Prosperity in this.
Of course not.
Unless it has an ulti, but you know.
Maybe as an ulti. Okay. I would like to maybe see an like a super rare Miscellaneousaurus would be very cool. Because right now it's only common and premium gold.
I could have sworn it came in super.
No, as far as I've seen. Double check me on that. If it exists, do it again.
Yeah.
Second verse, same as first. Let's see what else. I would also like to see maybe like an ulti. I almost said Zeus, but they've already done Zeus.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, like maybe an ulti Toad would be cool. Totally awesome.
Oh, you're right. It is only common and gold. Yeah, an ultimate totally awesome would be so nice.
Oh, yeah.
Especially going into Splite format.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that would upset me about it is that I've already bought my secret rares. So
I mean, I got a playset of gold. So
yeah. One more.
Why'd you put me on the spot? No, gosh darn it. BLS.
Which one?
I don't know. You have the BLS pop and it popped in my head. But no, in all seriousness, maybe like an upgrade to, actually, Ulti DD Grow would be fire, but it already exists.
Yeah, it already exists. I don't think they would do it again.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say mine to give you an idea.
Yeah.
So I would like to see personally a super rare printing of Sword Soul Blackout.
Okay.
I would like to see a common or super rare printing of Revived King Hades, which is a very specific Edison card, and
that has been reprinted in 5
it's never been reprinted.
Never mind.
Yeah. And the last card, I think I would like to see a you're right, that third one is kind of tricky.
Yeah. Maybe like a Ulti Swap Frog? Ulti Ronin Toden?
Swap Frog already has an ulti.
Okay, Ulti Ronin Toden. Super Swap Frog. Ulti Ronin Toden.
A Swap Frog reprint would be really nice.
Ooh, maybe some Dupe Frogs. Yes, I already know it comes as a super.
What I would really like to see is a super rare Substitute, but that won't happen because it's banned.
Yeah, they'd have to bring back Substitute to do that, and we don't want that.
I don't want Substitute back in the game as it currently sits without an errata, but the thing is, if it got reprinted, I would want it to be reprinted without an errata.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you want it a certain way, but you know that if it happens,
it's going to get errated.
Everything's going... well, because like if it gets reprinted without an errata, everything just kind of goes to the frogs.
I don't think that... I don't think that they're gonna reprint Substitute unless they give it an errata.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is an issue because it's only got, I think, one printing, and it's a rare, and it's like $25.
Well, yeah, because it got reprinted and then banned. Oh, it got my bad, not reprinted. Printed and then banned.
Right.
It's broken.
It's a very good card.
If you were to errata it, but try and keep the effect, how would you errata it? I'm curious, actually.
Errata it to try to keep it. I mean, just make it a hard once per turn.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Just make it a hard once per turn, and that's it.
Anyway, so in the coming months, this is supposed to come out in like November, sometime in November of this year.
Right. It says November 5th, but it's Konami, so it could get delayed.
Yeah. So just November.
Yes.
Is what I've been saying. And in the coming months, we'll get more and more info about other reprints in there. Like the last OTS set had like super rare
Caius.
And
that's it.
Yeah, and then the set before that though had like super rare
Token Collector,
which was super fire.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The ultis from the one before last was also pretty cool.
Yeah, the ultis have been fine, I guess. I'm still waiting for an ultimate rare torrential tribute.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Oh, also the ulti Fury of Karyushin, just cuz.
That's really random, but I respect it.
Because it lets you search out Torrential Tribute.
It's still really random, but I respect it. All right, let's get on into some cards. What do you say?
Oh, yeah. Let's go in reverse chronological.
So we're going to start with the Bisted theme.
Yup.
All right, so
More like Busted theme.
it's all right. The Albaz and Branded story meets its inevitable dragon support. So we're going to start with Bisted Magnumut. Dragon effect monster, dark level 6, 25, 2k on the stats.
Really beefy for level 6.
Yeah, pretty solid. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1. You can target one light or dark monster in either graveyard, banish it, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. This is a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster. 2. If this card is special summoned, you can activate this effect. Add one dragon monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand during the end phase of this turn, except Bisted Magnumut.
That's pretty powerful.
It feels pretty solid. It's interesting that it targets the light or dark monster in the graveyard.
Yeah, to banish.
But it doesn't banish for cost. It targets it as cost. That way
Yeah.
you can DD Crow it out and it won't get the effect.
Yeah, you can't DD Crow your own stuff, unfortunately. So if your opponent targets one of your own banished things, you could do something silly like Call the Haunted it.
I guess.
Because then it would revive and it's no longer engraved for it to be banished off of its effect.
But what I'm saying is, if your opponent activates this card, you can DD Crow their target out of the graveyard and they won't get the summon. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, but the issue is that they can target something in your grave too. You can't, I don't think you can DD Crow stuff in your own graveyard.
Yeah, but... Oh, I see what you're saying. You can target a light or dark monster in either graveyard.
And you can't, I don't think you can
so it can also be used as an interruption. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even notice that.
But it can only be used as, it's only a quick effect if your opponent already controls something. Has to control a monster already.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Next up we have Bisted Saranir. Dragon level 6 dark, 25, 2000, exact same stats. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. You can target a light or dark monster out of the graveyard, banish it. Oh, literally the exact same effect.
Yes.
If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send a Bisted monster except itself or a branded spell or trap from deck to graveyard.
Interesting. Next we have Bisted Druid Worm. Same type and stats, Dragon, Dark, level 6, 25, 2k. You can only use first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1. You can target the light or dark, ban it in either graveyard, banish it. If you do special summon, it's a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster, just like the last two. And 2, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one opponent's special summoned monster, send it to the graveyard.
Okay, that's pretty decent.
Interesting board breaker card.
The Bisted Lubellion. Level 8 light dragon, 2500 attack, 3k defense, cannot be normal summon or set. Must be special summoned from your hand or graveyard by attributing a level 6 or higher dark dragon monster. You can only special summon the Bisted Lubellion once per turn this way. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, add a Bisted monster from deck to hand, except another copy of itself. 2. During your main phase, you can place a branded continuous spell or trap from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone.
Wow, this all seems pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and then we got some other cards too.
Yeah, so next we have the Bisted Albalos Dragon Special Summon Effect.
I mean, it's like BLS, where you have to you have to special summon it by its normal effect first,
Right.
and then at that point you can.
Right. Okay. Light, level 12, 3500 attack, 3500 defense. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand or grave by tributing 2 Bisted monsters. 1. While you control this card special summon this way, negate the effects of all Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Exceeds, and Link monsters on the field. 2. If this face-up card you control leaves the field by an opponent's effect, you can banish all face-down cards in each player's extra deck face up until your opponent's end phase. Wow, that's really dumb.
Now here's the thing. Yeah, they're banished until your opponent's end phase, and they all go right back. They're banished face up.
Wow.
So then you can just kind of go, let's see. So if you can summon this dude on turn 0, you can go, let's see what you're playing.
Wow.
Got it.
That's really crazy.
Let's see what's in that extra deck of yours. Okay, cool. Now I know it's a Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherry. Thanks.
Wow.
Next up, we
But
have
you can't Ghost Reaper Winter Cherry.
But
because it banishes both players' extra decks.
yeah, until your opponent's in phase, and then they both go back.
Yeah, but I guess in your opponent's end phase, they could do some, I don't know.
Next up, we have Rebranded, a continuous spell. That's a funny play on words there.
Yeah.
You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. Also, you can only use the second effect of this card's name once per chain. 1. If a light and or dark monster is banished, you can target one of them. Place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw a card. Interesting. 2. Once per turn, your opponent normally special summons monsters. You can target a bisted monster in your graveyard or special summon it. So with the first effect, if you activate the big guy, you can just put one of your extra deck monsters back and draw a card.
That's pretty dumb.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
That's really dumb.
And then, of course, your opponent summons a monster. You just get a free bisted monster out of your graveyard, which then fires off their special summon effects. Searching, special summoning another one.
This is really weird.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we have Branded Beast. Continuous trap card. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. Once per turn during the main phase, if you control a bisted monster, you contribute one dragon monster, then target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. 2. During the end phase, you can target one branded continuous spell trap in your graveyard, place it face up on your field. Sure.
Okay.
Seems okay.
Okay. Next up, we have something that we, in our last episode,
Accidentally spoken to existence.
when we say that, we recorded our last episode, it went live the next morning, and a couple hours later, Skyhawk messaged us and said, I can't believe we've just done this.
Yeah.
Spoke this thing into existence. Infernalqueen Salmon.
Insane.
Level 5 Water Fish Effect Monster. 2400 attack, 1000 defense. You can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. If this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon a fish normal monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. 2. If this card is destroyed by battle, or this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon as any number of Vilespawn salmon tokens, fish water level 1/0/0. This is just more Terrorking Salmon Turbo.
We've done it. We've spoken Terror King Salmon support into existence,
Yep.
everybody.
As a retrain called Infernalqueen Salmon. That's fantastic.
This is a timeline. I was gonna say it's the best timeline, but I don't know about that. But it's a timeline for sure.
Hey, at least it was
It's not the darkest.
Hey, at least it wasn't Mystic Mind support.
True.
I think we're in a better timeline because that could have been a Mystic Mind support card.
Don't speak that in. If we can speak things into existence, you need to stop talking. All right. Next, we have Red Cartesia the Virtuous. Level 4 Light Spellcaster Tuner Effect Monster. 1500 attack, 1500 defense. So, if you're following, it's got the exact same typings and stats and everything as Dogmatica Ecclesia and Incredible Ecclesia.
There's also a bunch of other stuff that has to do with her kanji name, which is all in the notes at the bottom of the Yuki organization page. That leads me to believe that this is Ecclesia like being mind controlled or something.
Right. It's the same kanji as both Dogmatica Ecclesia and Incredible Ecclesia, as well as Condemned Maiden and Saint Joan. But it looks to be playing on a Latinized name of somebody, a famous philosopher. The one that said, I think, therefore I am.
Descartes.
Yeah. And
I have a funny joke about that, actually.
So it's a weird name. It's a weird play on a lot of different things, but this is how they translated it. Red Cartesia the Virtuous. So, like I said, light level 4 spellcaster tuner effect monster, 15/15 on the stats. You can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If you have Fallen of Albaz on your field or in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. 2. During the main phase, quick effect, you can special summon one level 8 or higher fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. 3. During the end phase, if a fusion monster or monsters was sent to your graveyard this turn, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. This feels really good.
It really does.
It feels really good. I could be crazy. But...
Okay, so real quick.
Okay, let me hear the joke. I know you want to tell it.
Okay. A horse walks into a bar and orders a pint. The bartender asks if the horse thinks he's an alcoholic because all the alcohol he drinks. The horse says, "I don't think so," and poofs out of existence. This is a joke on Rene Descartes' classic phrasing of "I think, therefore I am." I would have told you that first, but that would be putting Descartes before the horse.
Oh my goodness. I hate you so much sometimes.
I love that joke so much.
All right, fine, but I'm stealing this one because you did that.
That's fair. Worth it.
Yeah, and I like ninjas. So next we have Green Ninja, a new card.
We talked about it before. This is actual effect now. We have this effect.
Yeah. So this is a V-Jump promo card, and it is a level 2 Wind Warrior effect monster, 600 attack, 600 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If a monster is special summoned to your field face up, you can target one of them. Special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, change that monster to face down defense position. 2. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can target one monster on the field, change it to face up attack position or face down defense position. Sure.
So one funny thing you can do is just is like if you special summon a warrior, special summon him, flip that warrior face down, link one, and then flip the other one back face up. The one you flip face down, back face up. I don't know any good link ones for this, but
yeah, me either. But it's a thing.
It's funny.
All right, you get the next one.
All right, last new card as far as I'm aware of is called Soul Scissors. This is a card from, I want to say it was Dark Duel Stories. I don't know what the English name for the game was. The Japanese name was like Duel Monsters 4 or something.
Yes, Duel Monsters 4 Battle of the Great Duelist.
Yeah.
All it makes me think of is, hey, Soul Scissors, ain't that Mr. on the radio?
Oh my god, that's great. So it's a level 2 Dark Fiend, 550 attack, 350 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If a monster on the field is destroyed by a battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard while this card's in your graveyard, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. 2. If this card is special summoned from your graveyard, target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it. It's a hilarious way to punish your opponent for destroying your stuff.
Yes, it is.
But then you have to get it engraved, and
yeah, it's
got a lot of problems. It's cool though.
It's cool. It's a cool looking card.
It really is.
It's a cool looking card. So full credit for that.
Yeah. NGL.
Yeah. And I will say that on the next episode, we'll probably have a good bit more Darkwing Blast news and things to cover.
Yeah, because they're gearing up to...
Well, there's a big Darkwing Blast like live stream announcement event.
In the morning for us, I think?
Well...
At time of recording.
Yes. When this episode goes live at...
8 a.m.
At 8 a.m. Central Time. So it's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern time, I think, in Japanese tonight, which would be like
6 a.m.
Yeah, like 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or no, I don't know. It's basically, I think it's like 6 a.m. tomorrow.
We're
morning.
both terrible when it comes to time zones.
Right. I think Japan is actually 14 hours ahead of us.
Or no, I thought they were behind us.
No, I think they're 14 hours ahead of us. Regardless, there's a 14-hour difference either way.
Yeah. So soon they're going to be getting like this whole TV show that Konami does every new core set.
Right.
Tell me while it's a core set there.
If we did our math right though in our head, it'll be like 5 or 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So we'll probably they're probably going to do a big info dump on a lot of new cards because so far we only have the new not even. The way it's worded suggests it's not all the Blackwing stuff, just some of the Blackwing stuff.
Right.
So maybe we get a bunch of new Blackwing stuff, which would be cool.
Right. More Dogmatica cards. Or not Dogmatica, Albaz.
Yeah, more Albaz, which are kind of part of that whole kerfuffle. Maybe some new stuff for...
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of sick of the sick of the Albaz stuff.
Fair. Maybe some new Therian stuff.
Yeah, it could be anything, honestly.
And I mean,
We could just get an entire new archetype tomorrow.
yeah, we very well might. And then of course, there's always a possibility of them just kind of going, Blackwings or Winged Beasts.
I don't get it. What are you implying here?
Here's just like a bunch of random Winged Beast support that no one asked for.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's like, oh wow, who is this for?
I mean,
And
whoever wants it.
Yeah, whatever Winged Beast deck wants it.
Yep.
And then and it's like it's like a bunch of level 5s, and there's like, no one can use this!
Right.
It's like level 5s that can't be used as synchro material, and it's like, Harpies can probably use it, I think?
Maybe.
As like extra link material, but Samorg is banned, so...
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But we'll cover that on Friday's episode. So if you're looking for
Yeah.
that and you just heard about all these big announcements, wait for Friday. That's when
Yep.
we'll cover it, because we record this in advance. So, first, I want to talk just for a moment about our local OTS, or official tournament store, which is ETB Games in Alexandria, Louisiana. ETB Games does sponsor the show. They are kind enough to do that, and they are your one-stop shop for all of your card game needs. You can find everything that you need there for Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Digimon, or whatever you are playing. Sleeves, deck boxes, binders, playmats, they have all of that and more, as well as everything that you need for all of your tabletop card gaming or tabletop gaming needs, such as figurines, paint for the figurines, dice, big mats that you lay out over the table, the books, everything that you need for the games that you love. So if you are interested in anything like that, be sure to check them out. The link is in the description down below. And with that said, let's go ahead and get back on into the episode. So we want to talk about some
Freeform jazz! Sorry, funny joke. Anyway, continue.
It was a joke. I don't know if it was funny, but it was a joke. So we want to talk about the card game as a whole. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game that we love to a fault. It is not just a hobby, but a passion for, I would say, both of us. And obviously it would have to be for how dedicated we are to it, traveling all over the country and investing a lot of time, money, effort into not just the game, but also a whole podcast all about the game. So I want whoever's listening to know, especially if you're working at Konami so you don't hate us, I want everybody to know that this criticism that we're giving, as well as ideas, come not from a place of, man, I'm so mad at the game. It's not that. This comes from a place of love.
It could be, listen, the game's great and all. Could be better.
Right. So these are some changes that we would like to see made from less of a gameplay side, because I actually like where the game is at right now gameplay wise, and more of a corporate change, more changes as far as how Konami structures maybe product releases, how Konami structures their events, things like that. I think that there's things that Konami can do to very much improve the experience of the players.
Now, first I want to say up front, we're not really going to be talking about the delays, because that's really not something they can control.
Right. So
That, unfortunately, yeah, it sucks that it happens, but it happens. It is what it is. It's something that's way out of their control.
right, absolutely. And I do also want to add that I am not the originator of this idea. I saw this on Twitter that this was something that Farfa had posted about it. He had posted his Twitter, what are some changes that you would like to see in the game, and I think that it's worth discussing a little bit more in depth than a small Twitter post. Not because I don't think Farfa got his point across, but more because I'd like to give our thoughts on it, but in long form.
Yeah, without having to use Twit longer.
Right. So thank you to Farfa for, putting this question out there and kind of getting the wheels of thought going in our minds. So I think that we can take this kind of one at a time. Caleb, I know you have quite a few points. I only have one or two because I was very distracted during my prep time. I was watching One Piece when I should have been prepping.
Of course.
Listen, I'm very deep into One Piece at this point.
That's fair. Okay, so to start with,
Yeah, I'm on episode like 715. And if anybody listening is a big One Piece fan, hit me up because I'm desperate for somebody to talk about One Piece with. I'm almost done with Dressrosa. I'm very into it right now.
That's fair.
So,
okay, so
and if you haven't watched it, I recommend it. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll stop.
It's cool.
No.
Okay,
I'll stop.
I
I'm
was
done.
legitimately expecting something else there. Okay, so
That's perfectly fair. That you're expecting another interruption.
Okay,
I get why you're expecting another interruption there. I really do.
Okay, so to begin, one of my biggest pet peeves is just how they dance around reprinting stuff like that really needs to be reprinted.
Right.
For a great example is Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom, it's got a lot of reprints, but only one of them was easily accessible.
Right.
And unfortunately, it was during a time when structure decks weren't exactly easily accessible. So now that one structure deck common is $20 now.
Well, structure decks were easily accessible at the time. In fact, if anything, they were more easily accessible then than they are now.
Yeah,
that was pre-COVID.
Right. I don't know why I thought it was like right at the beginning of lockdown. My brain's all.
Oh yeah, no, it was definitely pre-COVID. Oh. But I'm sorry, I cut you off yet again. Continue with your point.
My point is that even when it comes down to other cards like Pot of Prosperity, Pot of Extravagance,
right?
The way over a year before they reprint anything.
Yes, that is generally their rule of thumb.
And then the only exceptions that they make is by reprinting it in the exact temerity a second time, or even a third time, like Forbidden Droplet, where it's had two secrets and a short print ultra and ulti.
Yes, that is correct.
That's not accessible.
It's got the original secret rare printing, then a year and 4 months after its original printing, it got another short print secret rare printing in Brothers of Legend. And
then it got an ulti reprint in one of the OTS packs.
Yes, well, in between, yeah.
And then recently, it got an ultra reprinting in Legendary Duelists.
Duels from the Deep.
Duels from the Deep.
I think that's the name of that set.
Also heavily short printed.
I wouldn't say heavily, but it is definitely short printed.
Yeah, because I think you get two to three per case.
I've seen some people pulling 4. I think 4 is pretty normal, but it becomes an issue when you have 5 ultras per box, which means you have 60 ultras per case,
and only 3 of them are, or only 3 to 5 of them are this one specific card out of how many ultras in the set? 10?
It might be less than 10. I think it's 7.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I opened 2 boxes and I pulled 4 Abyss Sharks.
Listen. I opened a box. I didn't even get the Abyss Shark.
Yeah,
I got the Fortress Whale.
Yeah, I also pulled one.
The Karyushin.
And one of them. Yeah.
And I got nothing but a bunch of copies of them and one Marincess Dive.
Oh yeah.
That was the one ultra I got that wasn't the Karyushin or Fortress Whale, dude.
Oh, did you get either of the new Marincess links? Because there's 2 Marincess Ultra links.
Yes, I got one. I got exactly how many I need for each of those, which is 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got the Fortress Whale, the Karyushin, the whatchamacallit.
Yeah, one of each of the ultras from there,
and then the Marincesses.
One Marincess Dive.
Yeah.
Everything else were Fortress Whale and Karyushin, and I was just like, that's. I think I didn't walk away with 3 Fortress Whales.
Well, you only have, if you bought 1 box and you got 5 ultra rares.
Okay, cool. I'm terrible at math.
You are terrible at math. That's well documented.
Yeah, it's very well done. Anyway,
but
besides the point.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be pedantic.
It is also part of the problem is that a lot of the, cool, it's an ultra, but how are you supposed to pull it?
Right.
You only get 5 ultras per box. And in a case, keep in mind, there's 3 of them, maybe 4.
Right.
5 if you're lucky.
I think 4 if you're lucky, honestly. Yeah. 5 you're really lucky.
But I think the number they were going for was 4 per case.
Right.
But then some of them will accidentally fall into
Right.
Because the way it's randomized, one will like the one that was supposed to, the fourth one for a box will fall into another box. Not fall, but be randomized into another box.
I know that my first box had 6 ultra rares instead of 5, and my 6th ultra rare was
the droplet.
droplet.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was very cool.
Yeah, which another possibility is that they're not telling anyone that they did this. They also might have like had it where a random box will have the 6th ultra and that's where droplet's at.
Right, right.
I doubt it. I highly doubt that. Could have
Well-
just been a fluke on your part.
Yeah, I think it was a fluke, honestly. But it's a fluke that I'm willing to accept.
Of course, because it happened to you.
Right. So I absolutely agree with what you're saying there. And I think that's a very good point, is the way that they reprint these cards, and even the reprints are not very accessible.
And then some of the cards they reprint that are like, okay, in order to play the game, I need this card, but it's super expensive. And then they'll like reprint it long after that meta has come and gone and it's no longer viable anymore.
Right.
I'm just like, would have been great 6 months ago.
For real. I think that something that is a key contributor of this lack of reprint equity and this lack of opportunities to reprint these cards fairly and distribute them evenly is something that I know is one of your other points, and I'm going to kind of dig into right here. But with a lack of promos
Oh my god.
and a lack of guaranteed printings of cards,
Yes.
now these days the only way to get a guaranteed printing of a card is if it's in a structure deck.
It's literally structure deck, and Lost Art Promotions.
Right.
That's it.
And that's very, very finite. I think that when you compare this to, say, 10 years ago, which I know is a long time ago, but if you look at the tins that would come out 10 years ago, they would come with 4 to 5 promos.
Yeah. Of course, the 10, whatever was on the 10 would come as a promo in there, but then you get like 4 other random quote unquote they seemed random at the time, cards, but it was stuff like one of them had like Tragodia and Vayu,
Right.
and stuff like
I
that.
think Vayu may have been another way that you could get promos, which are special editions.
Yes, special editions, and then there are also the jump promos, which the TCG, as far as I remember, doesn't get anymore either.
I think we technically get them, but it's just...
Yeah, like we don't get them in the magazines anymore, so there's no point. But I also think Shonen Jump like closed stores on the US side, if I'm remembering correctly.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that that's correct, but I could also be wrong because I haven't followed it very closely.
Same. I haven't been to a Barnes and Noble in
Right, right.
the last time I went to a bookstore, and trust me, it pains me every single time I think about it. And I think about it almost every single day. I love bookstores. Was like almost a year ago at this point.
Really?
And before that was like 3 years.
Honestly, it may have been pre-COVID.
No, it was not.
Oh, okay.
I was in Shreveport for.
I remember that.
Yes.
I remember when that happened, actually.
Yeah. And I think I bought a couple of mangas from there.
Right.
Because we were on a tight. Our budget was like $20.
Right. I think that without having 10 promos as well as promos for special editions, which special editions are also no longer a thing, so you don't have unlimiteds of various cards floating around dropping the price. So without all that, it makes it way more difficult to go in and really have more opportunities to get these cards. Things like Dandelion, Glow Up Bulb, Ill Blood,
BLS.
Right. These are notable promos. Evolzar Dolka, Tour Guide from the Underworld.
Logia, Rescue Rabbit.
Right.
Shockmaster.
Shockmaster was a jump promo and then was a special edition promo. So you're correct. These cards that were all expensive 10 years ago, they'd wait maybe 8 months to a year. and reprint them as promos.
Not even.
Tour Guide took a year to 2 years.
Yeah, but no, like
and Maxi.
Like Shockmaster only took like 4 to 6 months.
Shockmaster did not take a long time.
Part of that though was because it was a jump promo first, and then it was a special edition promo.
I want to say that
back in the day,
Lagia and Dolka were printed in September 2011, right after what we know as Plant Synchro format, because Photon Shockwave, where they released, ended Plant Synchro format.
Yeah.
And then I want to say Lagia, Dolka, and Zen Mains, which were all printed in that set, all ended up as promos in the next year's summer tins. So 9 months, 10 months.
Yeah. But then, you know, if a card was like Black Ship of Corn got reprinted like in a month, like 2 months later.
Yeah, jump promos got reprinted really fast, but
yeah,
some of them were actually good.
Like Black Ship of Corn.
And I don't remember Black Ship of Corn being a jump promo. Was it?
Yeah, it's how I got mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, so Black Ship of Corn is like this really old card. It was a generic rank 4, detach 1, send one of your opponent's monsters to the graveyard.
I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah, at the time it was great. Oh my god, it was a jump promo, or no, it was a manga promo. It was a manga promo, not a jump promo.
I don't know. You got me curious now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only got 2 printings. One is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal manga promotional card, and one in the 2013 collector's tin, and that's it.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. It was a dirt cheap card, though, because that manga was printed out the rear end back in the day. So, like, within about a week, there was easily 30 Black Ship of Corns just floating around.
That's crazy.
In our little area.
That's crazy. I did not realize.
Black Ship of Corn?
Yeah, I didn't realize how few times it had been printed.
Yeah. To be fair, after its second printing, it by the time it got its second printing, it was already out of vogue.
Well,
for lack of a better term,
it was 11 months because it was from December to November.
Yeah, that's how quickly it got power crept. It was already like there are better things to run.
But the idea that this card could be printed in 11 months, reprinted.
Yeah. As opposed to now, where
Pot of Prosperity came out February of last year, and it does not have any reprint of any kind.
A year and a half later.
Yes.
And so that's why it's a $120 card now?
It might even be higher than that.
Yeah,
but
last time I looked, it was like 120. Let's check that real quick, live and on air. We're professionals, I swear.
Yeah, I swear, we're professionals. $103. Yeah, 104.
Okay, yeah. Still, super ungodly expensive card that not everybody runs, by the way.
Right, but it's extremely necessary for certain strategies like Flunder, Madolche, Dinosaur. Very, very good card in those strategies.
Yeah, and then there's also a lot of...
all the decks you try to build.
Exactly, for some ungodly reason. I think that's just a case of just bad luck.
Potentially.
Yeah. Anyway, I have Pot of Extravagance now, for Dino at least.
It's something.
Yeah, it's better than what I had before.
True.
Anyway, back to what I was talking about. I have completely lost my point. Crap.
The fact that we don't have these promos anymore, and it's kind of screwing everything up.
Yeah. It's messing with everything because it takes 5 ever for them to reprint something in a reasonable like rarity to where okay, cool, it's like a super.
Right.
Or like because for Pot of Extravagance, it got reprinted several times. It was still like $30 at the cheapest.
Yes, because it got reprinted in Megatins, and after the Megatin, no, it was Toon Chaos, then Megatins, then we waited, and then it was a Gold Rare.
Mm-hmm.
Gold Rares were still $20+, and so we got it as a structure at common.
Yeah, and that's
the 5th printing is when it finally got reasonable.
And those for a while were $7. $5 to $7. Not forever. They dropped down after like a couple of weeks.
Right. But still.
As the structure deck kind of saturated the market.
Right.
But at the beginning, it was almost as much as the entire structure deck by itself.
Here's my thing. I think that if they don't have to reprint these cards after 4 months. I understand that they need to really get the equity out of these cards.
I don't even think it, I think the earliest that they should reprint stuff is 6 months, especially these super high value cards. I mean, like Potter Prosperity.
I would be even fine with 9, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But 16, 17, 18,
or longer.
That's pretty excessive.
Yeah, that it's particularly something like Forbidden Droplet, which is kind of required to play. I wouldn't say required, but
it's a good card.
It definitely you can definitely feel the difference when you have it and when you don't have it.
Yes, for sure. I think that something else, I would even be fine with no special editions if we got more products similar to Dual Devastator, where it's it's 56 guaranteed cards, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily built into being a deck or whatever, but just...
In my opinion, Dual Devastator is probably one of the better products that I've seen in this game's history.
Yeah, I don't think it was a $40 product good, but I think it probably should have been $20 in my opinion.
20 to 30.
I think 20, even for 56 cards. But the thing is, it's 56 guaranteed cards. There's no like lottery in it.
Yeah.
So I just think it's about a $20 worth of product. And I think that making it $40 artificially inflated the price of the cards within the product in the long term. But regardless, more products similar to that where you have, or even when you do things like Ghost from the Past or Dual Power or Dual Overload.
Yeah.
When you do these things where you get a display box with these cards, put a couple of promos in there. Things like that.
Yeah. Or even better yet, whenever you do something like Maximum Gold or like the Premium Gold stuff,
right.
have like each box is guaranteed to have this one card in it.
Right.
Like
or one of 2.
Yeah, or even one of 5.
Yes.
Like just okay, cool. You have a chance of getting one of these 5 cards. You're guaranteed one of these 5 cards.
I mean, they reprinted Armory Arm that way, and that was a great reprint in the Hidden Arsenal set.
Yeah, Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1.
Yeah. But the point is, they need to reprint cards and have a better system of reprinting cards, because the current system is terrible.
Oh my god. So and then my next point, which is still kind of part of that actually, is the way that they structure the actual structure decks here as opposed to the OCG.
Okay.
So the OCG gets 2 structure decks roughly a year.
Right.
But then they've been getting the structure deck R series, which is like redos of old structure decks.
Right. So essentially they get twice the structure decks we get.
Yes. Once a year we'll get a structure deck of a new strategy. They also get that. We don't get the structure deck R stuff. They just throw that into...
Well, I think we get like 2 to 3 structure decks a year, actually.
I don't remember one last year.
Last year had...
I remember we got Albash Strike.
That was this year.
It feels like last year.
That was, I think, March.
Yeah, it was in March, yeah.
But last year we got the Egyptian God decks.
Which aren't really structure decks?
Yes, they absolutely... Well, were they structure or starter decks?
Neither.
We had Ice Barrier structure deck.
Yes, which was a deck.
It existed. We got Cyber Strike.
We did get Cyber Strike, which was weird because we didn't get the Dragoonity one.
Right, but Cyber Strike was more of an expansion on the Cyber Dark archetype.
Fair.
And less a retrain of an older structure deck.
But what I'm saying is...
But the structure deck R's are specifically retrains of older structure decks.
Yeah. So, like, we didn't get the Dragoonity one. Instead, they just threw all that stuff, rather than it being in a structure deck of some kind, just into... I forgot what set it was.
Ghost from the Past 1.
Yes, Ghost from the Past 1. And then we're not getting
the Agent structure decks we got in Ghost from the Past 2.
Yeah.
And Dark World we'll probably get in whatever next year's.
Yeah.
If it's Ghost from the Past 3 or whatever.
Yeah. Which is not good in my opinion. Particularly those structure deck R's always having these great reprints.
Which we just don't see.
Yeah. And then of course, whenever we do, when the OCG does get the structure decks that we get, they always get better reprints.
Right.
It got to the point where it kind of became a running joke. The OCG's getting Forbidden Droplet and Lightning Storm. We're getting Lightning Vortex and Effect Veiler.
Right. Yeah. I remember when they got Infinite Impermanence and Lightning Storm in the Cyber Strike.
Yeah, and we were like, we're not getting either one of those.
We were like, oh, cool. We're gonna get Effect Veiler and MST.
we got Infinite Impermanence, surprisingly.
Right. And I don't remember what the other card was that they were.
I think it was Solemn Judgment.
Ice Dragon's Prison.
No, we didn't get Ice Dragon's Prison. They got Ice Dragon's Prison in the Ice Dragon structure deck.
No, in the Albaz structure deck, they got Ice Dragon's
Yeah,
Prison.
yeah.
And we got Warning Point.
Yeah, we got Warning Point. But for that we got I think we ended up getting like a Solemn.
Which Warning Point is a really weird reprint because that card has not even been out for a year.
Yeah. It's weird. They'll randomly just pick and choose random cards to reprint, like less than a year later, and they're low rarity cards to begin with.
Right.
Which
makes
is-
no sense.
Yeah.
Warning Point was printed in Phantom Rage. Oh, well, I guess Phantom Rage was actually
Oh, yep, there it is. Yeah.
a while ago. I felt like
Doesn't
that was.
feel like it though.
No, I really could have sworn Warning Point was reprinted a lot more recently.
Yeah.
Or it was originally printed a lot more recently
Yeah.
than that, but okay.
Either way,
I guess when you play the game for years, it all kind of blends together.
particularly the last couple of years. But that's not beside the point. Is that the OCG always gets way better reprints than we do.
They get more structure decks, and they're better.
Yeah. Again, particularly with the reprints. Now the trade-off is that we get TCG exclusive stuff. Like,
Yeah, but they get OCG exclusive stuff.
shh. To be fair, our TCG exclusive archetypes are way, as far as I've been told, are way better than the OCG archetypes because they're actually playable.
Actually, I don't know that they get OCG exclusive archetypes.
I don't think they do either. I think they get like OCG exclusive individual cards
But they don't get things like B Trooper and things like that.
until
Way
much-
later.
Way later, and then back in the day, I think they had an entire pack that was just TCG imports.
Well, they still do that.
Oh my god!
They still get a set every summer of just TCG imports.
Oh my god!
They're going to get B Trooper later this year.
Yeah.
So,
And we don't get anything like that. To be fair, we do get OCG imports sometimes quicker than they get.
TCG imports.
But it's individual cards, and
And other times we don't get them for 15 years. So,
yeah, sometimes we don't get them at all.
okay, I want to bring up one of my points.
Go for it.
So, I personally have an issue with the way that Konami structures the way that they interact with the community. Generally, Konami has this large wall of silence with the community.
Oh, and then just kind of like poke their head in the room and go, by the way, this is a thing.
If they even do that.
Yeah.
I don't like the way that they communicate or lack thereof with the TCG community specifically. If you look at the OCG side of the card game, they have a huge amount of interaction. They get live streams of card announcements and things like that. We might get a YouTube video that accidentally gets posted 3 days before it's supposed to. And past that, we might get a little bit of interaction with them letting certain content creators premiere archetypes a week early. I really think that there's a lot more that Konami could do. They could start with putting more explanation behind the ban list. Then they could go into opening a line of communication between the player base and the actual decision makers within Konami. People like Joel McHale. People like, oh gosh, the guy whose name has just escaped my mind.
Right as you're about to say it.
Yeah,
Every time.
Yeah, he's the head of R&D for TCG. Kevin Tewart. Opening a line of communication between the player base and these people. Put them on Twitter. Let people hit them up on Twitter and be like, hey, why is this like this?
Yeah. Or
Give them a voice.
and like something else that kind of coincides with this as well. Rulings.
Of course, Kevin Tewart might be the reason that they're not allowed to publicly have their own Twitters and things like that and have a voice, but
It might be. Another thing is, the issue with the TCG and rulings.
absolutely. This is
Which-
another huge issue of mine.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Okay, so the way it works is that in the OCG, before a card gets released, they'll announce the card.
And then they give a whole set of rulings
around that card
right,
that could come up.
Yes, and they put all of these rulings into a massive rulings database.
So, if I'm ever curious how something,
Alpha Master Beasts.
yeah, would interact with
whatever,
I can just go on. If I was in the OCG, I could just go onto the website, type in Alpha Master Beast, click enter, click on the card, and it'll bring up every ruling that has to do with Alpha Master Beasts.
Correct. And through those rulings and through the precedence that those rulings give, you can discern how the card interacts in other ruling situations.
Yeah, compared to the TCG where they don't say anything until literally at a YCS when somebody else brings this up.
Yes,
and
you
then,
have to ask the head judge at the event, and that's when you get a ruling.
And then the ruling might completely change how that card functions altogether.
Right.
A prime example of this is back when number 25 Leviathan Dragon first came out. Number 17, thank you. Leviathan Dragon first came out. His whole if I detach Songen, do I get a search? Number 25 is Utopia. Got the two mixed up.
Utopia's 39.
Who's number 25?
I don't know.
I'm gonna look this up real quick. 'Cause now I'm curious.
I bet I can get there first. Anyway.
Probably.
The issue is that we had it ruled a certain way that, oh, well, it works like this. Just for them to turn around and say that, no, it actually doesn't work like this. It works a completely different way.
It's force focus.
Ah, okay.
It's the camera.
Yeah. I've got one of those in Ulti. It's very nice.
It is. Anyway, back to the task at hand. Okay, so like,
we don't have a set way that rulings work here.
Yeah. And like with Leviathan, it completely changed the viability, not the viability, but it completely changed how the card functions. And it went from why wouldn't I just make Leviathan activate effect, attach song and search? There's no reason never to never do that. Not ever do that. Not do.
There's never a reason to not do it.
Yeah, but then later, because the initial ruling was that's how that worked. Then it got ruled, no, you do get your search. Then it got ruled back to, no, you don't get the search.
I think it was... I don't know. It's so dumb that they can rule these however they want to rule it. And at the end of the day, we don't have the official ruling until Julia Hedberg relays that to the head judge at a YCS, because she is the line of communication, by my understanding anyway, between the Konami R&D department and the actual judging staff. So basically whatever she says is law. So I just...
In this game of ours, she is the god of law and order.
The point is, in the OCG, they have this amazing rulings database.
Yeah.
And in the TCG, we have Facebook groups where you can go and ask judges and get a bunch of differing opinions and decide what you want to go with.
Yeah, and for local stuff anyway. And then
No. They use those at regionals.
Oh my god. Okay, so all events up to a YCS then.
Pretty much.
That's...
I've seen people ask I've seen a judge at a regional go, hold on 1 second. I saw this in a Facebook group recently.
Oh my god.
And pull it up in a face. I have at a tournament, now this was a case tournament, I asked the head judge before the event, hey, how is this ruling going to be ruled today? And they said, let me ask some people that I know and I'll get back with you. And I went on later to see that they had just posted the exact question in the Facebook group, and that's how they ruled it. Now, granted, the people that reply in these Facebook groups are sometimes actual head judges from YCSs and things like that.
Yeah, people who'd be in the know.
Right, people with actual credentials.
Yeah.
The point is, what are we doing here?
It also makes deck building considerably more difficult because you don't know how a specific card's going to be ruled
in advance. So, to wrap up, long story short, better distribution of reprints and promos, better access to things like structure decks. I would like to see better communication from Konami.
Oh my god, that's a big thing. It's just better communication.
Right. And I have one more thing that I want to touch on really quick because I know we're wrapping up. I would like to see Konami be more open and inviting of content creators at events.
Oh.
So I would love to see some content creators. I understand that we're probably too small for this.
Oh, no. I don't think we'll ever get big enough to actually do something like that. It'd be cool if we did, but...
The point is, I would like to see content creators like NBT, like SEMO, who I know are blacklisted by Konami because Konami's dumb, but things that people like that, people like MST.TV, people like Distant Coder. I would like to see these content creators get invited into behind the scenes of a YCS. I want to see these content creators be brought on to be brought in as announcers for a YCS. I would love to be brought in to do commentary for a YCS. I'd rather do that than play in the event, I think. I think that these are things that Konami could do to improve their relations with the community rather than have this great big wall of silence.
Something else that I would like, by the way, that is also just kind of part of communication. Give us a month in advance on ban lists.
Oh, and even a set date on a ban list. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, it'll be on this exact date 6 months out. Even just hey, well, we should have within the next week, like a month in advance of when it's supposed to go into effect.
Absolutely. To have a ban list that goes into effect 3 days after it gets announced, which is the weekend of multiple nationals, that is, in my opinion, unacceptable.
Congratulations, you have 2 days to completely redo your decks.
Yes, which happened this past ban list. They had multiple European nationals events happening that weekend, and then turned around and had announced a ban list on, I think they announced the ban list Thursday or Friday.
Didn't say anything that was on it.
It takes effect Monday. Actually, I think it might have been announced Monday or Tuesday and took effect that day.
Yes. So basically, the people who are in these events had 3 days
Notice, right.
to completely rebuild their decks in some cases.
Which is just dog water in my opinion.
And like, even if you're just going to do, okay, cool, I'll just switch out this card for another card that kind of does something similar, you have 3 days to get the card. Good luck.
Yeah,
if your local doesn't have it or one of your friends, you're not getting it.
Yeah, it's really unacceptable the way that they do the ban list. So, but I think that also falls under clear and effective communication.
Yes, I didn't even preface that with, this is all just part of communication.
So, at the end of the day, these are just some changes that we would like to see going forward, but we would like to know what are some changes that you would like to see going forward. So that'll be the podcast question of the day. I want to know what you, the player base, would like to see from Konami going forward. So with all that said, please, thank you everybody so much for listening to today's episode. Be sure to check out our Patreon, our TCG player affiliate link. Be sure to check out our Dragon Shield affiliate link. Be sure to check out Millennium Threads. Those are all of our sponsors, as well as ETB Games in Alexandria, Louisiana. Their link is in the description down below. Be sure to check out Team Dark Arm Dealings. I haven't talked about them in a while. They're our sister YouTube channel. They are from the same locals as us. They do a lot of the event coverage for a lot of these events that we go to. They post deck lists, things like that. And be sure to check us out on Twitter, Discord, things like that. So thank you all so much for listening to today's episode. If you liked it, be sure to follow us on Spotify, on Apple iTunes, subscribe on YouTube. We are definitely trying to get those numbers up because that is actually our smallest platform. But in the meantime, thank you everybody again so much for listening and have a wonderful week.
Take care, everybody.